You're so wild! Ah!
See you later, love.
So it's here. Upon the orphan estate where I state my case. Found like a broken bridge over aging streams of piss. Grown from years of genital sewage pumps spraying its laundry for the whole world to see. This people's palace never lets me down. A wasteland maybe, but a land to waste away in I think not. A particular kind of place is the orphan estate. From the south, red brick houses and Union Jacks. A few cracks in the family tree, but otherwise all together. Not many leave, if any at all. Mostly stacking shelves or on the door. One or two good pubs left unboarded up, but all in good time. I'm sure they'll fold just like the rest. Then on the ups, a higher form of class, who drink from glass instead of jar and drive around in Z-Reg cars. They disguise themselves well, but underneath the pouting and the Vogue magazines, they're just as rough as those who are known to be seen as rogues. Then the pale dreadlocks and the eco-friendly couscous salad heads. A slower pace of life for some, hidden in the graffiti garages of the north side slum. And in the east, a mixture of culture, connecting them all together. A spider web of navigation funneling the masses from each corner of it all. They'll roam down the roads that weave in and out of consciousness, leaving monopoly postcodes to entwine. While dull lit lamps cast shadows over unsavoury souls. And being the ground beneath their feet, I know their souls better than they do. For there's no place upon these tarmac rivers these eyes have not seen. Nor alleyways my nomadic footsteps have not walked through. Or smell of fume, patriotic to this turf my snout has not whisked. And come the weekend, there's little that survives in these here set of cogs. And you don't have to look hard. There's plenty of clues in this beautiful cage or ugly zoo. Which is up to you. Cracked screen, some iPod earphones, lavender scented cigarette butts, a crushed can, an empty bottle, a broken wristband. God, I love that smell. The reminiscence of 100 fireflies at heights 1,000 times as many. Don't get me wrong, I've seen shipwrecks in healthier conditions. Still, healthier to be a part of than to fall apart in, I say. And those arrested by the streets, without homes to go to, lurking round the fountains like old pigeons of troubled youth are cursed when alone with bottle. And I've not seen them in darker places. You know, the ones who battle within a hazy skull to offend their other half. Other half being sobriety. And I'm sure that their journey of retrieval is strongly despised because sobriety is definitely not a mind of man as we get along with around here. It's my kingdom's repression. But this recession must be addressed no matter how often we pay to avoid acquaintance. So by day, this ruler is tight within its core, clutching strongly as ever did before, where flowers still have colour and the grass may still look green to the forgiving eye. But as the haze grows thick with the lipstick kiss, and the aftershave territory lingers, under moonlit light, this concrete playground submits itself to those who are zombied by a substance of disobedience and vulgarity. This substance of pleasure, this substance of pain, is our queen. And she smiles, I believe, as silent weeps creeps through her streets, and here she'll breathe many a night to remember, many a night to forget. Alcohol is a cruel mistress and shows no mercy to unpatriotic affairs. And I, what of my case that has been so abruptly brought to life? Fortuneless in fortune, somewhat plucked from under heathen's breath, one suspects, but spawned by a manner to impress, we boldly suggest otherwise. However, I am aware that rumour's rule is far quicker to become truth, if not corrected. But I am neither villain by choice, nor villain at all, one could argue. Instead, I am the inhumorous head thump on the air-deprived brain, the trapped acidic claw inside the pounding bladder, and the hypocritical vision of last night's bite making you dizzy in the morning. I am the familiar story of unrestricted quantities of death sticks and liver rot. And trust me, this is no cliff you wish to hang over. But when the view at night and from a distance appears so inviting, one simply has to travel to the edge. And on the edge we do arrive. Every square mile covered under a pin-old sky. Covered in who? Or what, as the case may be. One shall never know, as memory works on no tight schedule to recollect itself on the orphan estate. And when it does, you wish you'd never recalled at all. I am the Guttermouth. And last night was my turn to walk amongst them. So taking you, Lord, as my guests, I should expect you all to follow. my longs I owe to you. A word to part in exchange for another I will trade, but promises of unadulterated tours for the faint-hearted I cannot direct you on. For it's only the road's direction I have travelled I can offer you. Hey up, mate. It's me. I come in here all the time. Hey, Frankie. And as we dance a little further in, to wet the whistle with a taste less stranger than this night, the scene is neither interrupted with change, nor familiar with changing faces. Mike, Gary, Barry, Sue, Davey, Sarah, Michelle, Geller, how you doing? All right? I'll have 3 pints of lager and a game of pool, please. There's £8.55 and £5 deposit. Large gin, slimline tonic, that one's on the house. House red, pint of bitter. Better make it a half, but you never do. Hey! Great on the fruit machines, but shite on the questionnaire. That's why he's always 50 quid up and 50 quid down. He comes in here to play chess. He's got a dog that looks like a wolf and thinks he knows karate. Have a packet of peanuts! Large house white, double vodka and soda. Both for the same man. He comes in here to buy the vodka for his wife, but his wife died 5 years ago. Bless him. She's been having an affair with her ex-husband's father. He's been cheating on his ex-wife's mum. You do the maths. They used to be best friends at school until he pulled the elastic back on his anorak and broke his knuckle with a toggle on the end. She drank 4 pints in 45 minutes and fell asleep in a wheelie bin. Hey! See? Nothing changes in here. While outside, on the street, they fill up and treat it as their stage. With diamond white and Mayfair lights which help them misbehave. Brazen songs from local underagers drown out the sounds of village bicycles being carelessly stolen and dislodged, while calls from lost friends are echoed from corner to corner to corner of this desolate city. All along the taxi ranks, the mannequins are modelling the latest silicone stretch marks and sambuca bellies, desperate to abandon their paranoid lovers. The local bruisers, who smash heads together and snort lines through rolled-up Charlie Darwins, forgetting about the vows they made from the Book of Broken Promises. Butch! Slag! Butch! Bitch and slack and bitch and slack and bitch and slack and bits and kiss and bits and bits and kiss and bits and kiss and stop! And to it they go like animals. with a rip! Smash, slash, bite, burn, break, shake, clash goes the underclass.
Did I ever tell you about the time? Hey, friend. Did I ever tell you about the time? Did I ever tell you about the time when...
But one tale is less acclimatized in ambush. He'll come to join you for a cheeky smoke on the old pub benches, witnessing the madness but still safe behind the fences. He's old, wiser than that of you or I, but a certain past lingers in his eyes, and prizes of stories told is all he knows when winter's cold. So tell them he does again, to anyone who will listen. And those that have heard his tales before predict his sentences like they were their own.
Did I ever tell you about the time when my dog Pedigree, Junior, escaped off its lead in the local garden centre? They went by me, and it were barking so loud that it actually scared all the starfish in the tank. They all jumped out and broke through skylight in the roof, and they headed up towards the moon. Well, as they got closer to the moon, the magnetic field around it pushed them away towards the sun. And as they got closer to the sun, they got hotter and hotter and hotter, until eventually they all exploded into 1,000 million pieces and landed amongst the sky. That's where stars come from. Did I ever tell you about the time?
Yeah, you told me about the time, you told her about the time, you told us all about the time. But the hook line of his old tales keeps fishing, all the same, while he blames only himself for remembering. And remember he shall, until age beckons him to a place where memory is just as unreachable as innocence is to those who makes him want to forget. And he starts to wonder, is there such thing as a pure soul on this earth when we're populating the theme of our streets by banishing all examples of decent human behaviour? Once I say, and I cannot tell you how lovely it's going to be to wet the whistle on a night like tonight. But, typical to fashion, no quicker could I introduce my lips to the taste of relapse than a sudden lucky strike fills my ears with the sounds of prosperous whispers. Whispers that graffiti our plans with Picasso-like portraits upon a canvas that at first appeared so blank. My inspiration was particularly lifted by a specific verbal suggestion of a word that I was so open to be hearing on a night like tonight. A word that puts people like me on the map and shoots bloody glow sticks out of the council's arse every time they sneeze. A word which makes civilization tilt perpendicular with controversy and plummets words like thanks and cheerio into a void of despicable intolerance. A word we have been searching for since the beginning of time. A word we now familiarise ourselves with. All right, mate? Yeah. No, just having a quiet one. A word we now familiarise ourselves with as rain. And here upon the orphan estate we have become very familiar to the lights, the sounds, the trembling bass sending shockwaves of low frequencies tunneling through the ground beneath our feet. Ultraviolet lights piercing the pupils and sending the vision into a fantasia of messy colours. Potholes of lingering grime sticking to the clothes and skin as you pass shoulder to shoulder, infecting more and more raggeds as you go. Each room has their own consumers, right? Tyrants who want to take advantage of a clumsy mess, who's too far gone to realise that his coat, phone and wallet are missing. Young girls getting mashed off their face after double dropping a pair of love hearts and then softening the rebound with a bottle of Lambrini. There is nothing angelic about the trades they make for another pill. Then the fallen generations of last century's dole office, refusing to settle down and hope they might regenerate. They won't, but they stop at nothing. They even bring their little ones along to wander around ignorantly while their next of kin rushes. Then the bass hunters, the ones addicted to the volume and the sounds of they stand within an inch of the speakers, literally soaking up every ounce of pure stereo vibrancy, like a mad cow getting milked for every drop. Drop as the beat goes on. Yeah. Free party's my bread and butter. So taking you as my guest, I should expect you all to follow. So, we make the plunge and exit from the plug hole as to not get flushed too soon. And outside on the stepping stones, the temperature falls thick. With every exhalation, the mist sets itself alight and clings to the claustrophobic breath, leaving the lung. But the night will not stay submerged inside a thermometer for long. Away from the noise pollution, the sirens and the gutter, over the Victorian slanted rooftops and down the cobbled streets of Kings, we meet the pennymaker. Lost in translation to ordinary vocabulary of you and I, he seeks communication of a different kind. His soul is heavy, his heart is broken, fixed together loosely by the resin of his ex-lover's bark, beaten and bruised by unforgiving terms of lust and passion. He recreates those moments he's lost and disguises them through dense poetry and song. For if his secrets were ever understood, his love would be lost forever. He plays as though unwatched, but singing for his life. Red wine helps his mind forget the cold around his soul and leaves a nice, warm, comforting feeling in his heart. Like a disposable glow lantern, aviating himself away from this planet, his voice is exposed and given out as if a gift to the world, only to be lost inside the night's deafness. A ballad, nonetheless. He sings. So call me on home, my lover's away, and over the mountain I'll call for each day. So say that you would stay, if only tonight. What he hasn't witnessed, I'll keep in my sight. And for she who loves me back shall love in return. If I should not falter, a feud for a while, then it's all for the altar and that beautiful smile. The seasons they're changing, and leaves they do fall. Where summer's forgotten, my heart shall recall. And for she who loves me back shall love in return. I'd tip my hat to the kid if I had one, but time ticks on and his evident sound becomes more and more dislodged with every step across the cold concrete street slabs that lead us back into the land of the lost, but not forgotten. And as our night becomes a bohemian tour around a museum of controversial culture, we must limit our time carefully. And carefully now we tread. As bars, cars, brawlers, dreamers, healers, screamers, destroyers, makers, lovers, haters dominate the atmosphere that fluctuates around us. Again, winter attacks our breath. But we will not bow to the defiant warnings. And against the odds, we excel towards the basement warehouses where our invite is still pending. Following the directions of multimedia tools, text messages and drunken phone calls, we're a taxi drive away. Having a good night? But it's always the same stale questions, right? So don't ask and don't answer, or care for his name. For our paths crossing is short. I care not for small talk, I'd just rather not walk. Keep the change. The bottle of vodka told him. We have arrived. Footsteps over undone laces, edge us down single-filed alleyways and through foxholes and sportable fences. The emerging sound of bass trickles through the cracks that navigates our passage to the entrance we're looking for. Found in the most unlikeliest of places, we pay our dues to the quantity control freaks who eagerly anticipate the arrival of the law's forces and dampen our flames with piss-stained regulations. But that doesn't matter. Until that moment comes, we are winning. In a heathen's playground, ultimate sinning. And so it begins. The lights, the sounds, the dance, the poison trance, the self-herded cattle of monsters just wanting to lose themselves into a world where reality would fail in. And why not? 'Tis the gutter's mouth, after all, 'tis it not? So what was hundreds soon become handfuls, as darkness takes a heavy toll on fragile minds that outstay welcome. But those with enough reserve to see the morning through to the end filter out to wander warmly along the roads with kindled spirits of similar secular socialism. Arm in arm we go, contemplating life's purpose and setting the world alight with philosophical conversation and abstract reasoning to ordinary suffering that just doesn't need answering. The thing is about life, man, is like, when it all comes down to it, like in the nitty gritty and stuff like that, man, it's like, when it all weighs up, like the counterbalances and stuff like that, the good thing, the bad thing, the thing that makes most sense, you have to remember, man, is it's all relevant, isn't it? Yeah? It's all relevant, isn't it? Like two old owls perched on a branch high above the city landscape. We rest our views over morning blues, double-decker buses, green man rushes, opening signs, delivery lines and traffic wardens handing out parking fines. Life. You can watch it all unfold. The earth's jigsaw slowly beating its first pulse of a new day. And it's amazing how it works. And it does work. I mean, it might not work well or to everybody's taste, but it does work. And ultimately, that's all it needs to do. And in the midst of revelation, as if a universal sign of concurrence, ever so slight pinprint droplets start to fall gracefully from the sky's eyes, just in time for the early morning wash. Welcoming fingertips stretched outwards as open palms from either arm collect little pockets of heavenly teardrops. This is the moment. This is the now. And these are the seconds that you've been counting down for. Nevermore have you thought so clearly. Nevermore have you known a stranger so well. Nevermore have you been so certain that every decision in life was somehow made deliberately to make sure you would end up right in this very spot, right at this very moment. And for once in your life, it all makes sense. Just from an awkward view upon an old park bench. But it's here, stood tall on oak and iron, that you give one last outward breath that brings to life those few final seconds of pure freedom, which will echo in eternity with the words, I was here. And so you watch a low sun rise in a high sky. And once again you feel the calm before the storm, as the street's cheeks seem to redeem their colour. And the grass may look green again to the forgiving eye. Until next weekend, when the bell tolls on this wasteland, you part and say your goodbyes. Then off you flop for an early morning coffee at Boston Tea Party. After that you want the 354 from Anchor Road, straight to your door. But catch it while you can, I say, because it goes by in an awful hurry. And although these moments last forever, I'm willing to bet you everything. One day, it'll never be the same again.